Good morning, people. Almost good afternoon. Hope you're all well. Welcome back to another edition of Quiz Cal Ask Me Anything. This is a show, guys, where you get to jump into the comment section and ask me any question of your choice, guys. I'm going to run it for about half an hour because we have the show at 1 p.m. with Sam and Tom Little. And I'm going to try and get some food in between this show and that show. So we're going to be about half an hour, maybe slightly less, but around half an hour. So people, the floor is yours. Ask me what you want to ask me, and let's get into this. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to Martin here. Says, when will you be free one day to come to visit Malaysia? Would love to link up with you in the near future. I'd love to go to Malaysia. It's one of the countries on my bucket list, but if I'm going to be honest, that's a couple years away, I reckon. Unless something crazy happens, that's a couple years away, because that's somewhere I'd want to bring the missus and the family to as well. So yeah, but Malaysia is a beautiful place from what I've heard. One of my good friends is Malaysian, and he speaks so highly of it as well. And he's been obviously back because of family and stuff. But yeah, Malaysia is somewhere I'd definitely like to go to. So God willing, one day get to go there. I didn't know you were from Malaysia, Martin. I didn't know you were from Malaysia. Do you live in Malaysia, or is your family from Malaysia? Are you Malaysian? Yeah, let me know, please, bro. Shout out to Josh, as always, says the UFC did a best fights in every men's division. You have to pick one fight from every men's division. That's the best. Josh, just clear this. Is this the best that's happened previously, or the fights I'd like to make? I'm guessing this fights that have happened previously, right? I'll go with that notion. So best fights that I've seen in the men's division. So I'll start with 125. Best fight I've seen at 125, or Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno, number one. Oh, that fight, Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno, 125 at the Apex. That was crazy, absolutely insane. So that's that one. For 135, best fight I've watched at 135. Ooh, 135. Oh, that's a tough one. TJ's been in some good scraps at 135. Garbrandt and Cruz was a good fight. Cruz and Faber 2 was a good fight. I did like Jan versus Sanhagen. It was for the interim belt. I did like Jan versus Sanhagen. That was a really good fight. So yeah, I might go with that one. Jan versus Sanhagen. At 145, I'm gonna go Ortega versus Volk. I'm trying to think if there's been any. Max versus Ortega was really fun as well, to be fair. I'm gonna go Ortega versus Volk, considering Volk almost got finished twice in that fight through submissions, and then was just a madman after that. Volk versus Max 2 goes under the radar because it was a controversial decision. That was a hell of a fight, though. That actually was a hell of a fight. I'm trying to think, is there any others? Move to 155. Best fight I've watched at 55. Hooker versus Poirier at the Apex. Hooker versus Poirier at the Apex was crazy. I remember hearing the punches, and it sounded like someone was hitting someone else with a baseball bat. That was crazy. Oh, shout out to our king, Diego Sanchez versus Clay Guida at 155 was a banger. That's up there, I'm not going to lie. That's a banger. That is a banger. But yeah, I still may go Hooker versus Poirier. All right, so that's 170 now. 170. Oh, Rory McDonald versus Robbie Lawler 2. But also Condit versus Robbie Lawler as well. Those two for me. Those two are the ones at 170. Those two are the ones for me at 170. 185. Chell versus Anderson Silva, I'll always remember. Ash. Edgar versus Maynard. Yeah, those are shouts. Those are definitely shouts. Especially the second one where Frankie comes back and wins the fight via stoppage as well. Shout out to Josh, says Benavidez versus Johnson, Garbrandt versus Cruz, Holloway versus Volk 2, Edgar versus Maynard 3, Lawler versus McDonald, Silver Shell, Sun and 1, Henderson versus Shogun. That was a banger at 205. That was a banger at 205. Jones and Gustafsson at 205 was also crazy. I may go Jones and Gustafsson at 205. I'm going to be honest. Henderson versus Hua at 205 was incredible as well, though. But just the stakes of Jones and Gustafsson and the fact that Jones just looked invincible. Like, but even Gus versus Cormier was a banger as well. I think people sleep on that fight. That was a banger of a fight. Heavyweight, I'm going to go Kane versus Junior Dos Santos 2. And then also Stipe versus Junior Dos Santos as well. Whitaker versus Moreno actually is a shout. R King, Congo versus Pat Berry is also a banging fight as well. I'm not going to lie. I just think it ends too early. But that fight, for as long as it lasts, is crazy. Here he is, Goonally. I have a question. What do you do if you message your good brother yesterday to check up on him as his team keeps on losing and he's not replied, but he's streaming? I gave him 24 hours like bounce. You know what, Lee? As God be my witness, I was actually saying to myself today, I'm gonna actually call Lee and pay him the respect because I was hounding you last season. Lee, you'll get a call from me today. But what I will also say, Lee, in public, we are professional friends now. As in, you won't be invited to birthday parties and all that if Arsenal win the league. We're professional friends. So I'll always look out for you. You'll always be my brother, but from a distance now. Because I've seen how you and Hooks have been since you've had this season so far. I hate everything about it. So yeah, that's where I sit on that. But yeah, Josh, great question. Newt 328, how much did you spend on your private sauna? It's not private sauna. It's it's like a box sauna, and my missus bought it, so I don't even know how much she spent on it. But it is very good, and anyone who can get one and has the space for it, I'd recommend. But mine folds down. I can put it in a box that's like about that big. You can't even see what a box maybe this big it can fit in. So yeah. But I'd recommend it if you can. Big up to Mantis says, sup my brother in Christ. How is Armour not fine for interim? Bro, I couldn't believe it. Shout out to Jamie. We were doing his show yesterday. Shout out to Luke Tanner as well. Luke, when I tell you, Luke is like the best underground correspondent. Like, he was posting it in the group yesterday as we were doing Jamie's show, or just before Jamie's show. And I was like, oh, so Armour must be fighting Ilya then, if they're doing Gaethje versus Paddy. It's a travesty. My only thing that I can think was saying that Dana White said the winner will be facing Ilya, though, didn't he? Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna do a video on that later. So yeah, but I think it's shocking. Absolutely shocking. Martin, Cal, can you turn me a mod on Copish? I'm not a modder. Yeah, I'll do that definitely, Martin. Just remind next time we're live, Martin. Just remind me, bro, and I'll do that. Manti says, "What's the worst fight you can recall?" Because I have one. Oh, Lewis versus Francis Ngannou, hands down, Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. Ash says, UFC site doing 50% off most stuff. Cal picked up some stuff this morning. I'll check it out. To be fair, Owen says, Cal, what do you think of the multiple fights? And now it's a bit of a joke in my opinion. Yeah, I just, again, maybe call me an old school fan. I just liked it when, you know, they actually did press conferences and announced these fights properly. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know. It just feels like he just doesn't care about the product anymore because it's just making money regardless of what he does. But Big up Sammy. I told you Arteta was a genius. I'm not going to go that far yet, Sammy. Guna Lee says, in the words of my good brother, I have a t-shirt for you if you like. I appreciate it. I could do some toilet paper at the moment, bro. Mantis says, guys, this is MMA, not football. Now, do you know what? This particular show, you can ask me about anything, like movies, sports, life, anything. This particular show on a Friday that we do, you can ask me anything you want. Anything you want. Is nothing's off the table here. But Lee knows what he's doing. Lee knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I don't know why you stopped streaming as well, Lee. You should be streaming, bro. Especially with you guys doing so well. All love, but you should be streaming, bro, because your channel would grow, especially right now. So I'm gonna get on to you for that. You'll never walk alone 73 says, the more the beard grows, the worse we get. Would you be willing to shave it off? So let me get it straight. Because my beard's growing, you now associate that with Liverpool doing bad. No, I'm not shaving the beard. Look at it though. On the real, look at it. Yeah, we're up now. No one believed in the vision. No one believed in the vision. Look at me now. You know what? Just for you, look. Where is it? Where is it? It's been a while, innit? Let's have a moment. Let's have a moment. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Look at that. Look at the regrowth. How greedy. Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I won't be shaving the beard, no. Mantis says, not Mir versus Crocop, stinky times. Yeah, that was a bad fight as well, considering the two of them. Martin, your Mount Rushmore of athletes. Oof. All right, so yours is Ali, MJ, Woods, and Bolt. Bloody hell. All right, Michael Jordan's got to be on there, as does Usain Bolt, I'd agree. I've got to have Messi on there because I'm a football fan. And then it might have to be Muhammad Ali. It might have to be. That was good though. I'm not gonna lie. That was a good question. Scans, Cal, do you think Uriah Hall would have been UFC champ if he won Ultimate Fighter? He would have been the UFC. I don't know if he'd have been champ. I think he'd have been a title challenger if he didn't knock out the person like he did in the Ultimate Fighter. I actually think that was a gift and a curse for him. It was a gift because he went viral off it and became very popular and very famous. But I think that changed him as a fighter because he actually saw just how devastating his power was. And I think it scared him. And because of that, I think he held back in some fights. And because of that, I don't think he achieved what he could have achieved. So, yeah. Wow. Owen says, I'm brushing air. I see you, Owen. I see you, bro. So this is what happens. You crash out on me on Coppish and you come over to the other channel and crash out me there as well. Harsh. Got a few more questions. I'm just starring the questions, guys, so I don't miss them. All right, let's get back into the questions. Josh, for heavyweight, I might go Kane versus Lesnar because I used to beef Lesnar nut huggers about who was better, Lesnar and Fedor. Yeah, Fedor was better. Lesnar, I do think if he went straight into MMA, could have been one of the greatest of all time, though, because as an athlete, he was incredible. Manti says, my favorite fight wasn't in the UFC. Hendo versus Wanderlei 1 and 2. Yeah, that's a shout. Krokop versus Fedor is up there as well for me, outside of UFC. Big up Michael Corleone says, who would win every UFC fighter in history in a blood sport style tournament? No weight classes. There's no weight class. You got to go one of the heavyweights or light heavyweights. Either Cain Velasquez or John Jones. In history, every heavyweight in history, yeah, Cain Velasquez or John Jones. I may go Cain Velasquez. That guy was an absolute animal. I think people forget how Francis. Francis. I'm going to go Francis Ngannou, actually. It's between those three. Jones, Francis, or Cain Velasquez. But yeah, it would have been very scary. Very scary. Big up Bruno in the building. Says favorite songs. Oh, Rock With You, Michael Jackson. This Love, Donald Jones. I Know Jay-Z. Slipping DMX. Who the Cat Fit, Bob Marley. Lloyd Brown, Main Squeeze. Yeah, those are my like top songs. Those are my top songs. But yeah, Rock With You by MJ might be my all-time favorite song. Josh says, I don't know why you don't stick with the goatee. My goatee is my favorite facial hairstyle. Because I'm trying to branch out. The brand is the brand, bro. I got to branch out. People were doubting the beard, so I just thought, let me grow it. Zane says, Cal, a question on life. How would you deal with setbacks and confidence? Ooh. How honest should I be? I do know if I hadn't setbacks. I wouldn't say I have a specific way of dealing with setbacks. I think each setback is its own challenges, and I try and deal with each challenge as it comes. I'm going through a few setbacks at the moment, which I'm struggling to deal with. If I'm going to be open with you guys, I'm struggling to deal with confidence. I think my confidence comes from putting myself in uncomfortable situations as much as possible so that I become comfortable in those situations. So like public speaking, I know public speaking is really daunting for a lot of people. For me, it's not, because I've done it so much in life. So because I've just done public speaking since I've been like 15, 16, I've just got used to doing it now. So I'm good with it now. Not that I don't still get a little bit nervous doing it, but I can put those nerves aside and just be fine with it. But in terms of confidence, yeah, it's just putting myself in uncomfortable situations. But setbacks, it's just a daily thing, innit? Like literally just a daily thing. Thab says, Cal, what do you use for the beard? Looking fire. Big up yourself, Thabs. Big up yourself, bro. Look, I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but the beard is looking fire. I'm not gonna lie to you, it really is looking fire. Like I've hit a new level. I use different oils. Pause. No Diddy oil, but Batana oil, tea tree, a little bit of olive oil, rosemary oil. So, and then I make a little concoction, and then boom, just gives that shine. You know what I mean? Just that shine. Shout out to Ash says, remember Dan the B7 versus Ken Shamrock? Was watching that last night. Wild days. Yeah, I think Vince McMahon missed a little trick there. He should have done that in WWE. Shout out to the Bezos. Says, what time is Coppish? Just need to be sure. 1 p.m. UK time, bro. 1 p.m. UK time. Michael says, Hassan versus Tom Little in a cage. Who wins? I'll probably go Hassan because Hassan's done Sambo. But I'm not going to ever sleep on Tom, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom's one of those undercover, like, knows how to handle himself people, but just keeps it on the low. I really wouldn't be surprised. Shout out to Sammy again, says, on a serious, Cal, why do the Dutch managers get away with, why do the Dutch get away with failing so much at tournaments? They never get slandered like England from football fans, or is it like they only get slandered in Holland from their own? I think it's because, I think you said this, Sammy, I think the Dutch have like such a nostalgia to them and such a love and admiration from so many footballing nations that I think it goes under the radar. And I think that's probably the main thing. You think of some of the talent they've had. The World Cup 2010, they lost to Spain, which most teams have lost to Spain. But yeah, they have massively underachieved, as of England. But yeah, England, I think England is so boastful about getting, again, maybe I'm wrong because I'm not in Dutch culture, but yeah, England do seem to get it worse than Holland. It is a bit weird. Sorry guys, if you haven't already, please do smash the like button as well and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'd be greatly appreciative if you could do that. Martin says, Cal, Gerrard signed a lifetime contract as manager and wins the quad until 70, but you have to be bald. Would you do it? Yeah, I'd do that. But we win the quad every year. Yes, 100%. I'll just wear a hat. I just wear a hat. Oh my God, quad every year, guys. No, yeah, you don't want that to happen. Liam says, "What's your favorite submission in submission finish in UFC?" Oh, Mighty Mouse armbar suplex. Yeah, that was crazy. Although I saw it wasn't in the UFC, I think it was in one. I saw a standing inverted triangle finish the other day, which was crazy. Also, Zabit, I can't remember the UFC event, but Zabit did a hamstring stretch. Beautiful. Aljamain Sterling actually did a very similar submission in the same fight card, but Zabit's hamstring stretch, phenomenal. We the Vikings 2545. Do you play any games? I don't, if I'm going to be honest. I just don't get the time to. Now and again, I play FIFA with the kids. But yeah, I wouldn't consider myself a gamer at all. Although I am trying to, once I sort out a new PC, I'm going to get a gaming PC and I'm going to try and do some gaming stuff on this channel as well. So be sure to look out for that. God willing, in the next 6 months, I'm hoping to do that. So we'll see. Adam says, just got back from thinking, yes, I can listen to the copy stream. How come there's no stream today? No, there was a morning stream. Drifted the morning show, and there's a show at 1 p.m. Let me check to see if it's actually been set. But there's definitely one at 1 p.m. Let me see if there's one been set. No, there hasn't. Do you know what? I'll set that show now. Should have been set already, but I'll set it now. So, yeah, but we definitely got one at 1 p.m. There we go. You should see that. So yeah, that's all set. That's all set. Big up Reds Extra says, do you like Post Malone? If so, what's your favorite song by him? I don't really listen to Post Malone. I don't have a dislike for him. I just don't listen to him. The only song I know of him is Sunflower, because the kids were playing that loads because they were into Spider-Man, and I think that was one of the themes for one of the Spider-Man films or something. So yeah, that's why I know that one. But yeah, I can't sit there and say I know a lot of Post Malone. I actually don't know any Post Malone apart from that song, so I can't criticize him or even speak well of him because I just don't know his songs. Bruno, music collaborations you'd like to see? I don't really listen to that much new music now, to be honest. J. Cole, Kendrick, I'd have loved for them to have made an album together. That would have been, for me, like ultimate. That's probably about it, if I'm going to be honest, Bruno. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing like Chronix collaborate with some of the like maybe like Chronix do something like Kendrick and J. Cole, just like a crossover similar to what Damian Marley did with Nas. But yeah, apart from that, I can't really think of many others, Bruno. Oh, Bruno Mars, actually. Speaking of Bruno Mars and Kendrick and Bruno and Jake. As you can see, there's a trend there. I'm a massive Kendrick and Cole fan. So those two with like Bruno and Anderson .Paak for me, like that. Silk Sonics just levels. I wish they had gone on tour because I'd have definitely got tickets for that. Mantis says, who's the bigger guy at 155, Khabib or BJ Penn? Oh yeah, for me it's BJ Penn, but people will say it's Khabib. I don't have a problem with people saying it's Khabib at 155. I have a problem with people saying Khabib's the GOAT of the sport. We the Vikings says, how do you feel about the recent loss from Liverpool? Dark. It's dark, bro. Surprised. I'm surprised. That's probably the best way of me putting it. Zizi, Cal, please come to UAE for UFC in Abu Dhabi. I've been trying to get media passes. If anyone can sort me out whether it be a media pass or tickets to the fights or anything in Abu Dhabi, then please hit me up. Because, and when I say sort me out tickets, I'm not saying to buy me the tickets or anything. I'm saying if you can find a way of me actually getting the tickets, because I want to come out there and cover some events out there. I've been trying to do that for a while. Jay says, why does Hassam defend Salah despite what we see? To put it blunt, he's a big Salah fan, but also I think it's because it's more than just Salah being bad. I think it's systematically there's an issue. Salah has been bad. I'm not going to make excuse for Salah, but I think the overarching issue is the system. If it was the system was fine and Salah was playing bad, I don't think Hassam would be defending him. I'd like to think he wouldn't. But I think that's what the main issue is. It's the system which is so bad that you go, there is leeway and space for someone to be given some grace period, in my opinion. I'm gonna start wrapping up shortly, guys, because I've got to eat something, put Alonso down for a nap, and then film as well. Right, so I'm gonna read out these last questions. So the last question I've got is Luke's, which came in at 90 minutes past 12. Big up yourself as well, Luke. Hope you're well, brother. Martin says, which fighter does Prime GSP most likely lose to? Islam at 170, Kamaru Usman at 170, or Hamza? Well, definitely Hamza at 185. GSP is too small for 185. GSP was a normal size welterweight. Like when you look at the welterweights now, GSP would be a very small welterweight now. So it would be Hamza at 185. But I also think Prime Usman versus Prime GSP would have been an amazing fight. An amazing fight. Bruno says Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar or Kane versus The Rock. I'll probably go Kane versus The Rock. Big up Connoisseur says, big up Cal, who are your top 3 sports personalities that you would love to meet and interview? Different sports, please. Okay. Gerard, I think everyone knows that. So that covers football. From boxing, Mike Tyson or Lennox Lewis. And from MMA, even though he's not my GOAT, no, in fact, I've got to go DJ. I'd love to interview Rampage from the banter I think I'd be able to get from Rampage. DJ I can get banter from, but it's going to be more of a serious conversation about the sport and life and stuff. Rampage, I think I'd see like almost like, you see when we do shows with KG the comedian, that's how I think a show with Rampage would be. It would just be a bag of laughs and just great fun from start to finish. Not to say it wouldn't be fun with doing a show with DJ, but I think you guys know what I mean. But yeah, that get enough interview with DJ, man. Gerard, DJ, those are for me like those would be dream scenarios, man. Dream scenarios. Fab's favorite J. Cole song, Nobody's Perfect, or Fold Clothes. Josh says, pick 3 genres of music you could only listen to. Hip hop, R&B, and I was gonna say reggae, but dancehall. Hip hop, R&B, and dancehall. Reggae's close fourth. Mohammed, what do you think about Chelsea's season? Do you think that we improved than last season? Is Esteval going to be a top player? I think Esteval's already a top player, to be honest, and I do think he will improve. I was actually speaking to a friend about this not too long ago before I started this show and said Chelsea are kind of going under the radar, and if their players all start peaking at the same time, it's going to be a massive problem for everyone. It could literally bear fruit, that project that they've done. Shout out to my brother Luke in the building. What collabs would you like to do next year on Hair and Coppish? On Hair, I'd love to interview. I'm going to go big. I'd love to have an interview with Tom Aspinall. I'd also love to do a show with. It's going to probably strike people as a bit of a weird one. I'd love to do a show with Nina Drama, not like a weekly show, just a one-off, and Ariel Helwani. And for Coppish, I'd love to do an interview with Gerard, Sturridge, and those two, Gerard and Sturridge, for next year. That'd be the dream. Jay, pick only one, Diaz or Gakpo. Diaz for me. Reds Extra, what do you think of Craig from Anfield Gender? I don't know him that well. I think he's created an amazing platform for himself. He has to be in the conversation as one of the best Liverpool content creators. I think it'd be disingenuous to leave him out of that. But I actually don't know Craig. I've spoken to Craig once. I filmed with Craig once, and he was really cool to me. Like I've not had an issue with Craig, but I don't know him to speak of him, good or bad, because I've only spoken to him the once. So yeah, but yeah, he's doing brilliant for himself. So all the blessings to him, and hope he keeps it up, man. X Shankly says, big up Cal, what would your top 3 questions be to ask Gerard in an interview? What it was like for him coming through the academy, looking up at players like McManaman and Michael Owen, who he was really close with. What happened with him and Brendan Rodgers, and if he could have picked one player to play with at Liverpool, who would it be and why? Yeah, those would be my 3 questions. Yeah. Shout out to Chris Brack, says, I am perfect. Pick your top 4 wrestling matches. He's so not humble. Pick your top 4 wrestling matches and top 4 Liverpool goals. Top 4 wrestling matches: Stone Cold versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania, their first one. Who else has there been? I'm trying to think wrestling wise. I tell you what fight or wrestling match I really loved: Stone Cold versus Mick Foley in your house, where Undertaker was the enforcer. And then Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, Hell in a Cell, when Kane made his first appearance. Top 4 Liverpool goals: Gerrard versus West Ham, Gerrard versus Olympiacos, Salah versus Roma, his first goal in that game, and Firmino versus Arsenal, where he dribbles through the team pretty much. Indian Scout, so big up my brother Cal, big up yourself, bro. Best debates on Coppage's wins: Drift versus Cal, Cal versus Matt, or Matt versus Drift. Much love, people hit the like. So I'm gonna be real with you guys. After reading the comments on the last video, I'm gonna kind of cut down on some of the debates I have with Drifty, because it seems like it really seems to wind people up the wrong way. Drift and Matt had a situation the other day on Coppage. I wasn't even involved, and I've been dragged into it in the comment section. Like, I literally debate Matt as much as I debate Drifty. So I'm going to step away from it, because I can't be asked with having to justify why I'm having a football debate on a football podcast show. So I'm going to kind of step back and just do the hosting thing, to be honest. Martin, not Mackenzie Derncow, in the future. Trying to trip me up there still, but in the future. Bruno, I don't play games, bro, so I can't even answer this one. I've never played GTA, if I'm going to be honest. Mantis says, what did you say word for word at halftime? Word for word halftime at Istanbul. That's what I'd ask Stevie. That's a shout. Best hype man, Paul Heyman. I'm not bad. Oh yeah, Paul Heyman, 100%. Rock versus Hogan was a good match. That was a good match. Thiago versus Porto, did it or did not touch the floor. That's a shout. Pepper, Cal, what's fatherhood, married life like right now compared to what you'd imagine when you were younger? Hard, especially doing content as well, because I'm so busy, and then my wife's working as well. We have 3 young kids. Still got to have to make time for friends and family as well. It's hard. It's hard. Being a dad is, I'm immensely grateful to be a dad, because there are men and women out there who haven't been able to have children. So I will never be ungrateful for having my children. In fact, it's the biggest blessing I've had in my life, is having my 3 kids. And with my wife, it's tough. Like, it's tough because you have to make sure you're there for your wife as much as possible, but you've also got to do this, and this is very time consuming. You guys just see when I'm on camera, but I've got to do a lot of editing behind the scenes, a lot of designs for thumbnails, backgrounds, and negotiate with sponsors and organize shows. So there's a lot that goes into it. But in terms of marriage, again, I'm highly blessed in those situations as well. I've got a very understanding wife when it comes to this sort of stuff. So yeah, nothing like what I'd imagined it though. Nothing like what I'd have managed. You look at marriage like it's going to be like the movies. It's nothing like that. You have to work it every single day. Frankie says, what exactly do you tell the bride when you get a trim? Short back and sides and keep the beard. Big up Vinny. Right, my last one here. I don't know what. Be yourself, connoisseur. I think it's good that you don't all agree. You do you, Cal. I may not always agree, but I respect. Yeah, look, that's my thing. I don't care whether people agree or disagree with me. But yeah, I don't know why it winds people up that I disagree with Drift. Like, I don't get it, man. Marty says, all jokes though, I'd matter. Yeah, of course they are. Of course they're good. Yeah, they're absolutely fine. Like, yeah, I don't know. But look, brothers, sisters in the chat, thank you all so much for joining. I'm gonna wrap up here, as I said, because I've got to go and get ready for the next stream and put Alonso down for a nap because she's looking at me not very happy right now after she just finished her snack. People, enough love to you all. Thank you. Smash the like button, subscribe as well. Till I see you again. Take care, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later.